Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm one of the education trainees here at the Wordsworth Trust. Today for Tuesday Treasures, I'm looking at this book. This is Philip Miller's The Gardener's Calendar. So it basically tells you what to do every single month to plant the different flowers in your garden, in your kitchen garden, just the nice flowers, and in your conservatory. So Philip Miller was the chief gardener at Chelsea Physic Garden in London from 1722 up until near his death later that century. So he really knew his stuff. He wrote at least two gardeners' dictionaries as well as this gardener's calendar, and this is actually a 10th edition of this book, and it was published in 1754, which is within his lifetime, so obviously it was a really popular book. Though this book itself is not one that the Wordsworths owned, because we have a bookplate in the front which says John Christian, so we know it wasn't actually a Wordsworths book. They may well have had a copy or seen a copy, used a copy in their lifetime, as both William and Dorothy were really keen gardeners when they were living here at Dove Cottage. Dorothy talks a lot about planting different things. So I'm just going to read a little bit from this book and then from Dorothys Journal to show kind of how it works. So in this book in April, Miller advises you to plant garden beans for a later crop and continue following other large kinds of peas to succeed those which were sown in former months. So that is his advice for planting beans in April. And here I have Dorothy Wordsworth's Journal, Grasmere Journal, and I'm just going to read what she says about planting beans in May. So this is the 1st of May. Rose not till 8:30, a heavenly morning. As soon as breakfast was over, we went into the garden and sowed the scarlet beans about the house. It was a clear sky, a heavenly morning. I sowed the flowers, William helped me. We then went and sat in the orchard till dinner time. It was very hot. William wrote the Celandine. So that's a bit from Dorothy's Journal, and I think it really shows how plants and flowers and the garden here at Dove Cottage was a real inspiration for William, writing, the poem The Celandine just after having planted some flowers and some beans in the garden. They were surrounded by nature, they loved it, and that was really important for them. This book, I think, is really cool in particular because it just shows how things don't change that much throughout history. This was written in the 18th century, and yet you can still use the advice that's being given today. It's almost like the Gardener's World magazine for the 18th century. So I find that really cool. It's also quite useful for me for my job as an education trainee, working with kids and maybe talking to them about summer gardens. I can look at books like this and others in the collection to give a little bit more context and to inspire the work that I can do there. So that's really useful. So for me, this is a treasure of the collection.